Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and tackle a dilemma that honestly practically every single one of us is dealing with today: digital burnout. I mean, we live in a world that's just constantly pinging, buzzing, and demanding our attention all the time. It really feels like we're drowning in data, right? But what if the ultimate guide to surviving our artificial intelligence era isn't some new tech habit, but actually a philosophy from over 2,000 years ago? So here's a question that really perfectly captures our modern experience. Our daily lives are just this overwhelming flood of noise. We've got endless news feeds, push notifications, comment sections, and now this absolute tidal wave of AI-generated content pouring into our minds every single day. We're constantly trying to figure out what actually matters. How do we actually find that clear, true signal amidst all this chaotic noise? To figure that out, we're going to turn to the ancient Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi. In his work, he introduces this absolutely fascinating concept of the three sounds. The first one is called renlai, which basically means human-made sounds. But today, this isn't just music or people talking. Renlai includes our language, our evaluations of each other, societal expectations, and yeah, even the algorithms we code. It's basically all that human-constructed noise that just completely fills our heads. Then there's the second sound, delai, which translates to the sounds of the earth or nature. Think of the wind blowing through the trees, water rushing through a valley, things like that. Now think about how incredibly peaceful it feels to step out of a bustling, loud city and into the woods. What's super fascinating here is that nature isn't actually adding anything new to give you that peace. You feel calm simply because the human noise, that renlai, has finally receded. So the really crucial point here is that Zhuangzi's ultimate goal isn't just, going out and listening to the wind. It's the third sound, tianlei, the sound of heaven. But the catch is, tianlei isn't actually a literal sound at all. It's a state of being. It's the state where your life responds completely naturally, totally free from external definitions and all that exhausting internal chatter. It's just life, flowing exactly as it is. And this brilliantly illustrates our core focus for today: denoising. In artificial intelligence, like those diffusion models that seemingly magically generate clear, beautiful art out of pure static, denoising is the literal process of stripping away chaotic random data. Imagine an old fuzzy TV channel that just slowly sharpens into a perfect 4K image. The AI removes the noise to recover a true, clear signal hiding underneath. And when we look at Zhuangzi's philosophy, it feels incredibly similar, doesn't it? He's basically offering us a framework to strip away life's noise so we can find our true, peaceful signal. In fact, Zhuangzi's famous chapters actually act a lot like a progressive denoising algorithm for the human mind. Step 1, Xiaoyaoyu, teaches us to elevate our perspective. When you zoom out far enough, massive life or death arguments just look like tiny birds squabbling on a branch. Boom, the first layer of noise is gone. Step 2, Qi Wulan, clears our cognitive biases, that constant need to label things as right or wrong. And step 3, Yang Shengju, is all about reducing inner friction, showing us that what exhausts us isn't usually the work itself, but our internal resistance to doing it. So this feels like the perfect life hack, right? We just run our minds through this ancient denoising process, filter out the chaos of the modern world, and uncover pure peace. But wait, just when we think we've totally solved it, we actually need to take a massive pivot here. Because as it turns out, there is a literal fatal flaw in this entire metaphor of filtering out the noise. Zhuangzi reveals the true reality of this in a really profound way. He writes that the wind blows through 10,000 things, and each sounds its own way. Think about it. When the wind blows through a huge forest, every hollow tree trunk and little cave makes a totally different sound. But there's no one directing the wind, and more importantly, there is no pure, true sound hiding underneath that wind, just waiting to be uncovered. You see, our modern assumption, especially right now in the AI era, is that signal and noise are two completely different things. One is good, one is bad, one you keep, one you absolutely have to filter out. But Zhuangzi's reality flips this entirely on its head. He tells us that the noise literally is the signal. We just keep misinterpreting it because we are so incredibly obsessed with trying to filter it out. There's this beautiful Zen concept that captures this perfectly, called the bucket drops. Imagine you're holding a bucket of muddy water, and you want it to perfectly reflect the moon. The standard approach, the denoising approach we've been talking about, is to wait for the mud to settle down so the water clarifies. But true enlightenment is when the bottom of the bucket drops out completely. The water rushes out, the reflection vanishes, and that entire exhausting effort to clarify the water is just gone. You don't filter the water, you lose the bucket entirely. This leads us directly to Zhuangzi's ultimate instruction for navigating our chaotic, highly digital age. He says, "The mind of the perfect man is like a mirror. It doesn't welcome things as they come, it doesn't escort them as they go. It responds, but it does not store." Let's actually compare this to the technology that's driving so much of our modern anxiety. AI learns, it predicts, it remembers, and it constantly filters data to increase its intelligence. It is endlessly trying to hold on to the world. But a mirror? A mirror does the exact opposite. It doesn't filter at all, it doesn't judge, it reflects a beautiful flower and a literal pile of garbage with the exact same effortless clarity. It accepts everything and retains absolutely nothing. One seeks to increase intelligence, the other restores absolute freedom. And this brings us to a really profound epiphany. Mirrors never denoise. A mirror does not try to separate the signal from the noise. It doesn't look out at the world and say, well, I'm only going to reflect the good parts today. True clarity in our lives means dropping the very urge to filter the world. It means finally letting go of that exhausting need to constantly separate what you think is valuable information from just digital noise. There is a rather dark, but honestly vital parable from Zhuangzi that really drives this home. It's the story of Hundan, a being of pure, natural chaos who had no eyes or ears. His friends, with the absolute best of intentions, decided they wanted to help him see and hear clearly. So, day by day, they chiseled holes into him, trying to force clarity onto his chaotic nature. On the 7th day, the chiseling was finished, and Hundan died. Forcibly trying to chisel clarity or artificially perfect our natural chaotic state, it will only destroy our genuine vitality. So the wildly empowering takeaway here is that you do not need to forcefully erase your modern anxieties. You don't need to chisel away your flaws or aggressively denoise your life until you somehow find some hidden, pure version of yourself. Why? Because you are already the mirror. We've all just been so busy trying to aggressively wipe the mirror clean that we totally forgot it never actually needed wiping in the first place. Think about it. The algorithm feeds, the push notifications, the societal expectations, all that internal chatter making you anxious all the time. We've been taught to view every bit of this as toxic noise that blocks us from peace. But what if we view them through Zhuangzi's lens? All of this modern chaos is exactly what Tian Lai, that sound of heaven, looks like right now. It is simply the completely natural state of our current reality. When you finally stop trying to fight the noise, you realize something really beautiful. The deep, true essence of who you are has never been stained by the digital age, not even a little bit. You didn't receive any extra burden, and you lost absolutely nothing of your true self. The listener inside you, that mirror that simply reflects the world without judgment, was always there, completely untouched by the chaos it reflects. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. If the chaotic, overwhelming noise of your life isn't actually something blocking your peace, if it is literally the pure signal you've been exhaustingly searching for all along, what is there left to filter? I'll let you reflect on that.